Alright, I really hope that my face is in the frame here. So there's no street photography related video this week because I'm out in the Smoky Mountains National Park, so not really any street photography out here. And I don't have a lot of time to make a video because it's like a family trip, so I figured I would just do this quick little Q&A and then at least I'm uploading a video this week. So I got a bunch of questions that I've had over the last few months on my phone, kind of saved them up for a Q&A video. So here we go. What were your camera settings in the street photography at night in the rain video? And basically all I did was set my ISO to auto because I figured it was going to be high ISO anyways, and if I could get away with a lower one the camera would sort that out. I left the lens wide open, which was at f2, and I set my shutter speed to, it was either, I moved between 1/160th of a second and like 1/250th of a second. Most of the time I usually try to stick with 1/250th because I can freeze motion a little better. And then I had another question that related to that, which was why are you shooting at ISO 12,800 so often? And it's basically just because it was so dark and I want to be able to freeze motion, and I would rather have a grainy photo that's well exposed than not really get the photo at all and shoot at a lower ISO or risk not getting the photo because I'm trying to use lower ISOs. And I don't really necessarily always have the time to think about it when I'm shooting streets, so that's why I'm often at high ISOs. Someone asked ages ago if I was releasing any presets, and I have since then. It's not because I think that everybody should be buying presets to edit their pictures. It's just that I started to use presets to get through my editing process a lot quicker. I thought if anybody was interested in sort of learning what settings I'm using to achieve whatever looks, then maybe they would find it useful. And I made sure to put them up there for like $5 so that it wasn't really a waste of money for anybody who decided they didn't really want to use presets, but if they were interested, it was a way of putting a little bit of money towards supporting the channel, which I greatly appreciate obviously, but yeah, no pressure to buy or not buy presets. I just put them there. If people want them, great. If they don't, no worries. Someone asked horizontal or vertical, which I'm assuming means do you prefer to shoot horizontal photos or vertical photos? I seem to gravitate towards vertical photos. My favourite pictures are mostly verticals, and I don't know if that's a product of Instagram or a product of some of my favourite photographers. Yeah, I like it better if I get a vertical photo that I like than a horizontal. Not a question, but someone said I look like a young Andy Mumford, and I had to Google who Andy Mumford was, and yeah, I can't really complain. I do kind of look like a young Andy Mumford. Someone also said that your videos have Evan Ranf vibes to them, which I think they meant as a compliment. I don't necessarily want I don't really want my videos to be like anybody else's. I would rather they were unique, but I'm pretty new at it, and when you're new at something you tend to sort of emulate other people who you follow until you figure out your own style. So that is, I get it. I'm trying my best to figure out more of my own style. I definitely think I have my own style of photography, but with videos, still figuring that out. Someone asked if I shoot RAW or JPEG. I used to shoot just RAW all the time, and now I shoot with RAW to one card and JPEG to the other card, because sometimes the JPEG is fine and I nail everything in camera and I'm happy with it, and I don't really want to spend time editing it. I did that with my most recent landscape photo, which I took yesterday in the mountains here. I just took it straight out of camera because I thought I pretty much nailed everything and I didn't feel like messing around with it in post. So yeah, RAW and JPEG, but most of the time I use RAWs instead of JPEGs when I'm editing. Related to that, someone else asked what film simulation I'm using, and I do sometimes switch between them, but most of the time it's Classic Chrome because I like it. It seems to be a pretty popular one. I mess around with the settings of it a little bit in camera, sometimes bump the colour up a little bit, and keep the shadows nice and dark, and I like that look. So Classic Chrome. What camera were you using? So if it's for photography, in most of my videos I'm almost always using the Fuji X-T2, which is what I'm filming with just now, and Sometimes when I'm doing the talking head videos, I used to use my Canon 5D Mark IV, but I've found recently that Fuji is actually good enough for the videos, and maybe I would like the 16mm lens so I can get more of a blurry background, but the X-T2 works fine. So sometimes I'm filming with the X-T2 or the 5D Mark IV. Almost all the time I'm taking photos with the X-T2. Someone asked what GoPro I'm using. So I used to, up until about 2 months ago, maybe even less than that, I used to use a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Silver, which was from like 2013, and I recently bought the GoPro Hero 8 just because I wanted to get like the smooth, what's it called, hyper smooth, because the Hero 3 doesn't have that and stuff was looking a bit shaky, so it just was kind of a video upgrade because of that. But yeah, so now I use the Hero 8. Do you do collabs? A couple of people have reached out about collaborations, and I haven't done any yet. It's not that I wouldn't do any, I just don't necessarily always have the time to like coordinate with someone else. A lot of the time when I go out to shoot streets, it's just kind of like, oh, I've got some time this afternoon, I'll just run out the door. So it's not always fully planned and put in my diary as to when I'm going to go shoot. I just kind of go. So that's kind of why I haven't done any collaborations yet. I'm not necessarily looking to do collabs or not looking to do collabs. It's just I just find it hard to schedule stuff. Someone asked if I was constantly changing ISO and shutter speed on each photo I was doing, but I think that's because my camera settings show like vastly different sometimes on my videos, but that's mostly because I'm using some sort of automatic feature, so that's why it changes a lot. So I'm not always shooting in full manual unless I know exactly the kind of shot that I want. Most of the time I'm shooting some form of automatic so that I can just get the shot very quickly, because sometimes you don't have any time to think about your camera settings. At least I don't. Maybe I'm just not that sharp. Do I recommend the 35mm f2 over the 35mm 1.4? Not necessarily. I have the f2 because it suits what I need it for. It's nice and small, it's very portable, it does not like get in my way at all. I don't often need any wider than f2. I mean, I would take 1.4 if I had it, but I also saved like $400 on buying the f2, so, and it's weather sealed as well, so that was nice, and it seems like it focuses faster in a lot of situations. The 35 f2 was the one I went for. The 1.4 would be beautiful, I'm sure, especially if you're shooting wider than f2, and it may have better optical quality, but I mean, I have no complaints with the 35 f2 either. So I mean, if you have the extra money, go for the 1.4, especially if you're shooting low light a lot, like weddings or something like that. But shooting for fun, I don't see anything wrong with the f2. Even for some professional stuff, the f2 is perfectly good. That is it for the questions. Next week, I'll try and get back into my regular vlogging, photo vlog type stuff. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!